Hello, hello, hello. Hey everybody, how y'all doing? Good morning, good evening, good afternoon to you, wherever you are, whatever time it is when you listen to this. Welcome to my channel. All right, so hopefully everybody's doing okay. Um, Considering the essence, I'm gonna just do a quick little read, real quick, see exactly what we got going on in the atmosphere, some of the things you may expect to come to you, or not, or not, right? Oh my goodness. Oh my god. Of course, not all readings are gonna resonate with everyone. If it doesn't resonate with you, that's okay. That is okay. If it don't fit, don't force it. If it does, don't ignore it. All right, all right. So, ultimately, uh, oh my goodness, we got the thought deck, y'all. We got the thought deck, and then the karma deck wants to come out, and white sage tarot. So we gonna see exactly what it is we got going on, y'all. This weather is amazing. It feels very good outside. It's nice outside, y'all. Hopefully you're soaking up some sun, right? Soaking up some sun, getting some vitamin D. Getting some vitamin D. Oh, one of the cards that was in my Knowing More deck, it was the Five of Swords reverse. One, not winning at all costs. Some things it is that would have taken place 5 days ago that you may need to pay attention to in the business aspect. I want to say I did that. It's thousands, thousands or hundreds. All right. And if you're looking for something in particular in like a political aspect or so to speak, because I know y'all gonna watch anyway, uh, it'll be like the fifth word or the fifth line. So pay attention to those different things. All right. So Queen of Discs, feeling emotionally stable, financial stability. Typically, Capricorn essence, Moon essence. It'll be Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn. Which, if you have a Taurus Moon, and it relates more so to Capricorn because it's as a reaction based out of one's emotional intelligence and whether or not they would have shifted their thoughts. So, Queen of this. One of the things that is ironic about this is that it's a ram in the picture. No, you know what it's about? The ram in the bush. The ram in the bush. Okay, is some of these upside down? They are. Okay. The investments that come into place within one walking away from relieving some burdens. Okay, so what this is really giving is being a cup, a pinnacle for every cup, but there's a cup left over. So paying attention to that. Yeah, like one for every month, so to speak. And then there's that one that's done with that isn't. Yeah, some of this is given in the lack of the mathematics aspect, whether or not someone is taking their medicines up along their path, and if they would have gotten diagnosed along their path over the course of 2 weeks. The world it is that one would have created in regards to different, yeah, for the emotional aspect, or it is going to be about that 7 year cycle it is that one will have, and what will be complete within it. What did you walk away from? What didn't you walk away from? Yeah, how one would have to cut cords entirely. You know what it is within the whole uh cutting cords aspect. It would mean really it's the equivalent of a shedding of an atmosphere if we gonna go into the planets and what indicators it is that you would have had within different investments that would have been made. Now, in the financial aspect, if you're talking about love, pay attention to how and what it is that would have went on within that whole aspect of love, and some things not being healed and one not stopping, and how certain things are non-stop. Yeah, ensure how something will be a continuous bad investment, or it'll just keep emotional cycles open when one doesn't walk away and they don't relieve the burdens. Yeah, some of it is gonna be about not wait, not waiting. Yeah, that's what I thought mathematics. This is some situational shit. It is though. Yeah, because if this is people, this is a lot of people that will be involved in it. Is there anything else in this whole normal aspect? But this is known. What this is giving is that it's known. It's a lot of people. What you know versus what you don't know. Oh, there you go. And then one being independent, single, hierophant. Okay, so one of the things it is, yeah, is the overall essence of being a hierophant. One of the things it is that was coming to me a whole lot was the different popes. I was talking about this actually. I see why. But what it is to be independent and the transcendental spiritual truths that comes into place with one being single, as well as emotionally stable, and what constitutes as emotional stability within complete need cycles. More than likely, what you really need to pay attention to is how it is you go from and the movement it is that would have taken place within the emotional state and going from not having enough coins to having an overflow. That's what that's going to be about. Yeah, in short, that whole statement of you don't give from your abundance, you give from your overflow. Because your abundance could be just right at your top. You know what I'm saying? You give from what you have more of. That's interesting. Some of the other stuff it is, yeah, I'm looking at these numbers 7, 8, 10, 2, 4, and 9. In the so yeah, this must be about the whole numerology aspect too. 27, huh? It coming up to a 9 when you non-stop and you single. The unhealed part of being single is something else I'm kind of getting from that. How one would believe that because yeah, okay, so some of this is coming from what I paid attention to with me playing the music. It was a few different songs that were resonating, right, quite a bit. And within those songs resonating, one of them was Janet Jackson, I Get So Lonely. But it's one of those within that whole aspect of being alone or being lonely, what is it that would be calling for you to pay it some attention to? For instance, one of the stories that's really coming to me is uh when there's this little girl, right? And she goes and she asks her dad what does he like, and within her asking him what does he like, he said he like a sweater. Well, over the course of time, she goes and revisits him, right? But she didn't have the sweater completed, right? So when she on her last visit with him and not having a sweater complete, she promises herself she's not going to go back to see him again until the sweater's complete, right? So some time passes, an extended amount of time passes, then she goes back to him and he let and gives him the sweater. Well, his thing is I would have preferred to have had you and spent time with you. So ensure pay attention to how you pay time, invest your time. That's yeah, the whole choose wisely. Then the magician within one not manifesting. Some of this is gonna be about some ancestral situations that will be going on. And if you've been seeing feathers a lot. Yeah, clearing out what one wouldn't have manifested and what it is that what wouldn't have been communicated as one would have come in with clarity in one's attractiveness and the lie of an investment. That's part of it. And the other portion of it is Yeah, lying about some investing in an individual when they're single. What? Okay, so a lot of what this is given, right? Yeah, in the feminine aspect, the transcendental spiritual truth in the feminine aspect is if a person is single, yeah, men don't like giving to women who are single. Yeah, the whole I paid for it. Yeah, it'd be the whole I paid for it aspect. But if you didn't pay for it, and the toxicity that translates over into the feminine aspect within them being masculine, that's basically what that's given. Yeah, it'll speak to not one's self-worth but one's projected worth. So however it is that comes into place to it then for you. Now, it wouldn't necessarily be about net worth. It's not going to be about net worth, but projected worth. What would you feel something is worth? Something or someone. Now, in this whole little situation, within, there being it, not walking away from bad investments and things of that nature, um, it'll be about the whole being, yeah, because what it's given is about being drained. Because in this Gemini and I want to say Aries, but Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. You want to know what the funny thing about it is? Whenever you pair a fire sign and an air sign, you can get one of two mixtures coming off together, right? Yeah, you can either get Leo or you can get Gemini as a foundational aspect. Not because what it's giving is the whole paid, whether or not one paid. Paid. I'm saying paid, but I'm hearing paid. But I'm seeing the word paid. Paved. All right. I'm hearing don't ever bite the hand that feeds you. Nah, don't do that. That's mean. That's rude. Don't do that. Don't do that. Something else that I'm seeing, right? You got owls. A lot of legends of stuff has been coming up. That's a continuous running thing. So the legends. Some of it, yeah, in the whole legends aspect, I'm it's given like the whole table of contents aspect. If you've paid attention to a table of contents or what a table contains, also the contents period of how something would materialize is ultimately what that's given, and how it's not materialistic to, yeah, that's a sound judgment as far as like finances and when you see essence or energy as currency. That's what that's going to be about. And how when you make a bad investment in a situation, of course, you're going to feel better and it's going to be a whole lot nicer for you in that regard. Now, the villainy that'll come into place with this, right, would be, yeah, this is about the whole Lilith aspect of what it is that goes on when one isn't recognized versus one is. Yeah, it's about the way something is being recognized in regards to one's happiness and a betrayal of, oh, sorry, the happiness. Yeah, for some people it's gonna be about betrayals. Others it's gonna be about how something ended. The happiness of one's isolation ending in regards to being motivated by money and the all ferocity that would come within one bringing clarity about one not being fruitful and one Yeah, how a person wouldn't have been able to break someone's heart in a discussion, in a conversation, or in what was said. And some of this, yeah, some of this is gonna be about how a person wouldn't have broke somebody's heart in an abortion. An abortion wouldn't have broke a person's heart. An abortion, an ending, a miscarriage. Oh, this is gonna be pertaining to some of this stuff is gonna be about. I just heard arms dealers. Okay, that works. Yeah, because if you talking about arms dealers, yeah, it could be in weight, like how big somebody's arms are. The other one, NRA, yeah, NRA, all this shit. Uh, General and Marines, General and Army. I want to say a captain or a lieutenant in the Air Force. Yeah, you got some warriors and shit showing up in here. And this is what it is that would have been going on with Friday, and there being heartache about what it is that was talked about or discussed. So, according to what it is that's cleared out, right, with this whole Night of Swords, there would have been some conversations that would have been held in regards to how things, how attractive or how the investments would have been obtained. And then there would have gone into the whole villainy aspect of, you know, what they wouldn't have seen beforehand. It's kind of like that whole fine tooth comb. One of the things that was really coming to me right before I got on here, right? I do recall I was talking to Sphinx about it, and within me telling him about it, when you had to go over a contract with a fine tooth comb. See, here's the deal that comes into place. When there is spell work involved, the contracts ain't gonna ever look like what you think they supposed to look like, cause what it is that would have manifested in 3D, right, versus what it is that would have been going on in the abstractness that will come into place in 4D and 5D. Now, paperwork and things of that nature, that's the paperwork, all different types of communications. Those, that be the sticky situations that come into place with it, right? And the reality of it is how when you send a representative, that representative is responsible for all interactions on your behalf. So when you hiring somebody, if that's not how you feel about a particular situation, now because the whole just hold on. When you hiring someone, they're speaking for you, whether you like it or not. Okay, that's that portion. The other part of it is, within me when I did have my storage unit, right? One of the things it was that was imperative for you all to be examining. If you all didn't pay it attention, it was something that kept coming up on repeat. What it is that was going on with family, what it is that was going on with the family you made versus the family you created versus the family that you were born into. Those are two. Those are a few different paradigms. So I was talking about family love and storage love and what constitutes as uh your basis in the psychological analysis of what's acceptable behavior and what isn't. That's what that whole situation was about. And you have to, yeah, and depending on what part it is that you would have played in it, say for instance, you would have played the part of creator, right? And within the whole creator aspect and knowing what creators do and how things wouldn't manifest within one not being able to come in and provide that particular type of clarity or even the thought. Yeah, how some things people wouldn't think of, but you would think of. And here's the deal: I say it all the time. Just because a person will think about doing the shit, don't mean they'll actually do it. Some people just can see things from varying perspectives, and I ain't even gonna. Yeah, I'm gonna say this for myself. I'm a true crime watcher. I really, really am. Law and Order SVU, Law and Order Criminal Intent, all of it, right? And you'll get to see, uh, not only the character analysis, but you also get to see how you can present a particular choice to an individual, and within that person having that particular choice presented to them, it can go either way. Yeah, because you could pick a lock. Say for instance, if it's your lock to pick, you can pick it. But if it's not your lock to pick, then it's wrong. You get what I'm saying? I hope that helps. It does. Thank you. You're welcome. I hope that helps. That's that part. The other portion of it is gonna be just because you have the means and opportunity to pick locks doesn't mean you should. One of the things that kept coming up that I really started feeling like, y'all, I ain't even gonna front. I ain't even gonna lie. If you've ever seen First Wives Club with Jill Scott and oh my goodness, yeah, with Jill Scott and is his name Mario Van Peebles? That's not Mario Van Peebles. Yeah, the dude, he looked like the dude. It's not him though, because I think that actual dude is dead. But he looked like the dude Romeo from off of Steve Harvey, and he writes this book and everything. But in any event, on First Wives Club, the movie, right? Uh, they were breaking in, right, to I want to say it was their friend's mother's house, and within them doing so, uh. one of the main characters starts, going in on another character, right? Because she has a fanny pack. Now, and she tells her to throw away the fanny pack. And within her telling her to throw away this fanny pack, she's like, oh, and she was about to say something that she didn't. She cuts her off and she just makes her throw it away. Now, later on down the line, it's stated, right? To that same character who told the other character to throw away the fanny pack, she looks to the character who usually has a fanny pack with her and says, where are your tools for this? You usually have them. You usually have them. You were so unprepared. And the retort is, I did have them. You told me to throw them away. So whatever, yeah. So in short, it's the jump into conclusions aspect that can come into place with it. The other part of it is, yeah, that be how quick one is to judge a situation. Is that the other portion of it will be about how what it is that one wouldn't have nurtured and thought with them being single. In short, yeah, certain things that you're not gonna think about when you're single versus things it is that you'll think. Like if you're in an independent company, it's certain shit you're not finna think. You gonna be real careful who it is you partnership with. If you're an independent person or you're a single person, you should be just as careful who you will partner with long term. Deities as well, all that stuff. And especially if you're a business looking to gain some sort of notoriety through a deity, yeah, you gotta respect when it sends you help for certain shit. You can't be making these down. Yeah, y'all do too much on the energetic side when it comes to that. Yeah, because business owners who are practitioners, y'all typically end up having the same problems over and over and over. You know why? Because you're not respecting the people it is that are being sent to you. So there's that portion. The other part of it is Page of Pentacles reverse, Ace of Pentacles reverse, and Five of Pentacles reverse. In short, not making a small offer. Yeah, it not being about the small offer last year and one being hot and what it is in the heat. Yeah, it's giving it whole. If you can't stand the heat, get out the kitchen. That's one of them. The other part of standing the heat and getting out the kitchen. Yeah, what it's giving is if you're a cook for real. Yeah, if you're a cook or a chef, yeah, or a sous chef, or if you're plating, whatever it is. Yeah, and if you would have lost memory of the ingredients or something like that, that's something that you need to really pay attention to. The other part of it, that's gonna come into place with this, yeah, is the whole. It's not the collecting of information from stability from 5 years ago. One would know that it's about one who would have been stable, however it is, several years ago. And when one is stable, yeah, when you stable, you don't have to walk away. When you unstable, if you lose, one of the things I'll say is if you lose your footing, just pay attention to this. If you walking right in a particular way, and then your foot does the little chain step thing, it you can identify it as a chain step. but it does the chain step thing. You got two options from there: to keep walking on that exact same line that you were walking on, or you can even just take a step over. Yeah, because you could be walking in somebody else's essence in that moment, literally, and it don't match or blend well with yours. Yeah, co-workers. Yeah, that's what I want to say. It is that's going on with the whole co-worker situation that keep going on, especially if you're essence sensitive. If you're really essence sensitive, yeah, that can happen to you a lot. With just period. There's that portion. The other part of it is the recognition that comes with huh, transcendental spiritual truth. How do you identify? How one identifies? How not only how was it identified, but how was it created is realistically what is given. What was created in this small offer of stability coming in. So you got some stuff coming in, and then they're being okay, being stuck without burdens. 2 days not having burdens, and that being the reality of an older person, an older man, mental abuse. How one wouldn't have knowing what the burdens are versus knowing what they aren't in one's emotional stability. It's giving that whole I used to sing this a lot, getting to know you, getting to know all about you, getting to like you, and hoping that you like me. No, a lot of that is going to be in regards to the whole spiritual contract portion, right? That comes into fruition with this. A lot of this shit is the whole 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. Now, because with the whole 10, not all rock to the beat for your boy, shawty, do it, hey. Rock to the beat for your boy, radio killer. All night with you, girl, with you. The Dream. No, the artist, The Dream. Yeah, so pay attention to some different situations that will go on in regards to that within one walking and acting in their inspirational reciprocation and there being an their emotional health and groundedness along with what it is that one would recognize as the spirit of one being of good fortune or creating good fortune. Feed the birds, tuppence the bag, tuppence, tuppence. If you've ever seen Mary Poppins. And the irony that comes into place, remember when, okay, I just stated it about how it's two types, right? It's two ways that any decision can go in regards to that lock aspect, right? Mary Poppins constitutes as an energy vampire, right? Could constitute as an energy vampire that sucks out happiness, right? While Pennywise sucks out fear. So yeah, just do with that what you will. That's something that's coming to me. I hope that helps. I heard energy vampire and empath. Now here's the deal. That's where it's gonna boil down to you understanding uh the stability and practicality that comes into place with the spirit of a situation. Right? Because a person can suck out all of the fear of a person and they realistically be an empath. That's just how they're acclimated. They could be, yeah, negatively charged. So they take all the fear from a person and they produce positivity from it. Now, yeah, that's why I use the terms it is that I use. So, in short, understand the terminology that you're utilizing in regards to something. Because energy vampire, a kid realistically can be constituted as an energy vampire. Babies can constitute as an energy vampire. They can't empathize worth a damn. They can't. Not right off the bat. That's a learned behavior. They don't come out just doing it. That's something that they learn or they adjust to within their vibrational settings within them coming into this realm. So that's it. Okay, I feel preempted to say, okay, I hope that helped y'all out just a little bit. I hope that helped y'all out. But in regards to the whole uh yeah, because what it is that I'm seeing in regards to it, when you pay, you got to pay attention to not only verbiage, yeah, verbiage, title, all of that, and what it is to stay in alignment. Yeah, that I ain't even gonna lie. And with the imprint of everything and making an offer and stuff like that, that typically be the biggest thing that happens with this hangman reverse. That whole the delusions and illusions and all this other stuff. Yeah, because everything unfortunately does constitute as illusional or delusional, not necessarily the spiritual connections, right? Yeah, because your spiritual connections are like your chosen family and friends. You're gonna want to see them people on a regular basis. The best thing it was that I heard during what one of my when I was checking on everybody, so to speak. But one of the best things it was that I heard is you are the sum total of the 5 people that are around you the most. So whoever, yeah, that hopefully that helps you out as well. I heard you said all this before. I have said all this before, and I've also, like, here's the deal. Like, I did this same type of reading, but when I did it the last time, I was in a park. I was in a park. Yeah, and I had, in that regard, I had seen a person in a black car. Dude was driving a black car. It looked like a government vehicle. I don't care what nobody say. That shit was suspect as hell. Up and then and then here comes the birds flitting. Passionate new beginning, right? Within what it is that will be clearing out. But yeah, I had seen or I was doing the reading then, and I think I even said something, but I put it up on Facebook. One, and the reality of it is, just because, yeah, because it'll go to the experimental aspect that comes with the burden of memory and Alzheimer's and the potential, to find cures and shit for it. That if you could upload your thoughts into a system, you can go back and you have a hard copy basically of whatever it was you was thinking. That's part of it. The other part of it is just because a person, yeah, has a hard copy of their thoughts, if they didn't record what they were feeling in those moments, you don't know what they were feeling, and you don't know what they were actually doing in that moment. Like, I don't know about y'all, but I don't know very many people who were just going, yeah, to go through the day of the life of a hierophant. Yeah, maybe that's something that the Pope needs to do. That would certainly be something that they haven't done with none of the other popes. That's part one, part two. But then none of the other popes tried to open that damn fifth door without being capable to handle what was on the other side of it. None of them would have did that either, though. So let me shut up. That's that part. The other portion of it, yeah, the other portion of it is if you know the history of the papacy, and if you know the history of what it is to be emotionally stable, or even in that feminine essence of being, how attractive it is for one to be stable and what it is they feel. And yeah, the difference between when you're dealing with empathic aspects of what they would feel versus what someone else would feel, and who's focusing on them. Yeah, because they can catch you up when you're in the middle of meditating. Yeah, that's why I be telling you, I stand on what's real. Stand on what's real. Stand on what really happened. Don't be standing on that delusional, illusional shit. Cause you got caught up in the fucking matrix. And when I say the matrix, I don't necessarily only mean, on the computer scene or computer screens. I'm also talking about in whatever knowledge base it is that you have that governs your life, because now you're a part of that person's world and entirety, and you're allowing that mindset to puppet you, opposed to you allowing for yourself to develop your own facet by which you can apply the different lessons it is that you would have learned. The Hangman reverse. Yeah, a lot of this is about what happened with Neptune went retrograde and Pisces being in the villain spot, right? We just came out of Libra being in the villain spot, and then Scorpio was in the villain spot. Yeah, and you know what it'll tell you? Who it is that people revel more. Not reveal, revel. Revel and revelry. Yeah, and sure, people love a good villain, and a lot of people, you'll be amazed, would rather side with the villain because in some instances, the villain can be painted out to be what constitutes as the underdog, and everybody loves a good underdog. That's a part of that whole investment aspect that'll come into play. So yeah, pay attention to consistency. One of the things I'll say in regards to investments, one of the things it is that I've learned, and I learned this when I was in Air Force ROTC, is when you invest in something that you know people gonna use every day, like toothpaste, toilet paper, yeah, everyday common household items. So, however, I heard, what about pharmaceuticals? I don't fuck with pharmaceuticals too much because I know exactly what be going on in some of those clinical trials. They hide them. The mere fact that it's a way for things to be done and profits can be obtained and no one dies with having a more naturalist approach to it. Yeah, a naturalist but safe, because when you're dealing in a naturalist aspect, there isn't anything unsafe about it. So there's that. And within the independence inside one's mind and the hierophant. Who's saying somebody's name? Say my name, say my name. When no one is around you, say, baby, I love you. You ain't running game. Say my name, say my name. Who are just our fifth? Nah. But something else that would be coming into place, the reality of it being 9 years inside of one's mind, 9 years inside the mind of transcendental spiritual truth, or 9 years being locked into different transcendental spiritual truths, ascending, what it is to ascend over the course of 9 years, being locked into ascensions. That's what that's given. Yeah, and if you can identify when somebody else would have ascended from something versus, yeah, our Frankenstein is really coming to me a whole lot. Where the angels say, it was like, well, how do you, what happens with demons? And it was like, they're demons, they descend. And he was like, well, how do you descend an angel? And he was like, we are angels, we do not descend, we ascend. And he was like, yeah, well, how does that happen? And so it has to be a lifeless, or it has to be a soulless being. Now here's the deal that comes into place with that, yeah, because I've utilized this as a teaching tool before. True enough, Frankenstein constitutes as being, he technically constitutes as being soulless. The mere fact that he made a choice would depict that he has a soul, even though his body came into being in an alternate fashion. In short, yeah, it's nothing that couldn't be ordained. That's that part. The other portion of this is given about motherfuckers being cloned. Let's just go ahead and say clones and lookalikes, right? And just because it's a clone doesn't mean it's going to respond to things the exact way that you are. Just because that person looks like you, yeah, it doesn't mean that they have to take on your feelings and do shit the way that you would do it entirely. So it's that part. All right. And last but not least, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and take this all the way back. We gonna clear this out a little bit. Yeah, cause this my Nefertiti tarot had came out quite a few different times. That just sounded like Pops John Witherspoon. You boy. But the Nefertiti tarot, it had been coming to me quite a bit. Now before I ever get back, whenever I have a reading to do with that one, it's like, hold on, let me ground myself in that particular culture. And are you able to ground yourself in multiple cultures? And when I say ground yourself, yeah, give you a base foundation of knowledge that you can pull from and add to. All right. So let's see with this Nefertiti tarot. Okay. Knave of Wands. Is it, you know what it's feeling like it's going back to? It's going back to that one reading where it's the woman and she has a Knave of Wands and a Knave of Pentacles. she's teaching both of them. Up, but naval wands and the star. The good news of being a star, the good news of Aquarius, the good news on the humanitarian scale of what it is that goes on within jealousy, one being, and what it is to be unapologetic and hiding the movements. Something else that is given it. How well are you at isolations? When I say isolations, I'm talking like pop locking. That's basically what that is given. Um, huh, and the aggressiveness of robberies. That's that whole that I know what song it is. Yeah, best behavior is describing, yeah, because that's the song that started coming to my mind. Right? But the good news of the star and the good news of healing, the good news of the healer and the good news of North. With that movement coming out, yep, the good news of one being in one's North. What it is to be in your true North. Oh, I didn't even know this was right here. What? When did y'all flip over? Oh, the mutable madness and that whole flip flop shit. Yep. Okay, so ultimately, what I'm getting from this is there was a story that would have taken place, right? From back in, yeah, back in the day, like, yeah, the fundamentals of all history, okay? Greco Roman, Egyptian, Slavic, Mesopotamian, all of the whole Pangean shit. This is where this is kind of feeling like it's coming from, and within there being the end for some of it, yeah, because it's the ten of spades. This the swords is the spades in this, but but it's three women on this card. So the overall essence is gonna be about this whole three women situation and the betrayals or endings in regards to the emperor. Ah, no, because some of this is given how in the fates phase. I said fates fates, but it's phase in the phase phase. There you go. Phase face. Okay, and then one not waiting on the priestess. Oh, in order to give instruction and what shouldn't have been paid attention to in an unearthing. Now, because some of it would be given if a concubine would, I ain't feel like if a concubine would have got buried and she wouldn't even slept with the emperor. That's one of them. I'm just saying that's one situation. But in this particular narrative, so to speak, it would have been there wouldn't have been any friendships. There wouldn't have been any friendships. Okay, yeah, because part of this will be that you would have built some sort of friendship. I know what reading is coming from. Yeah, because back in the day, I did used to see it a whole lot, and it's coming back now. How a man would have been killed back in the day for sleeping with an emperor's wife. Now, if an emperor got like 100 wives, he's not going to be intimate with all of them. So you have some deaths, transitions, and all that other good stuff that would have come into place because one of the concubines would have slept with one of the guards or some shit like that. Yeah, that would explain why it is now we have no fraternization policies in the military. And you could tell if a person has that type of background because that'll be the way that they will carry themselves later on. Some people would say that it's a part of the whole PTSD aspect, but the other portion of PTSD is you have to be disciplined, and within the disciplined aspect, meaning structured, know have a set schedule, right? So within this whole schedule aspect that would come into place with this, yeah, he wouldn't be able to get around to all of them. Part one and part two. You think for 1 second that after a woman or man has been sexually activated, they're not going to crave it again if it's been done appropriately and correctly, I should say, with no trauma attached. That's an automatic. right? Yeah, because the kings weren't just sleeping with women; they was just there for. You know what? I really don't even really get. Yeah, because it's really out of alignment for them to have concubines, especially considering no children of those concubines don't even get a piece of the throne for real in the long run. Yeah, that'd be the weird shit. But that's that part. The other part of it that comes into place is the jealousy that will be associated, but with being the first one or the top one, or that being a competitive factor. Well, you don't know what the responsibilities are outside of it. Yeah, it's a lot more to it than just yeah sitting around and looking fucking pretty. Basically, is what that boils down to. The other portion of it being what it is to yeah, when there would have been this realization of how people wouldn't have been friends in August, and there would have been reciprocation. Cause thank you for being a friend. Oh. Travel down the road and back again. So it started from the bottom, now we're here, girl. No, cause what is coming to is in those particular and the circles of class. Yeah, and if the building and stuff it is that you was in would have been shaped like a circle, huh? Or throw that ass in a circle, throw that ass in a circle. Hey, but you get what I'm saying. In this situation, it would have been what would have been initially like this high form, but it would be an end and it would be a betrayal to it being an end. When there would have been when one would have been setting sail and they wouldn't have been a navy man, or they wouldn't have been old enough to go on the water. Oh my goodness. Or have a fear of water. Yeah, having a physical death. Yeah, a person could have had a physical death in a past life with water. Okay, I won't read what's on them. But what I will say is how would it there is some recordings obviously of what it is that would have happened. Some of this is going to be about some naval reports, so pay attention to the maps and mapping. The naval reports is one of the things you got to pay attention to. The other thing is yeah, with understanding maritime law, and that's what it is. The fundamentals that cause for the creation of maritime law and piracy and all that other shit. Yeah, and how even according to maritime law, doing something across seas or across the equator. I think it's about across the equator. You know, it's gonna have a different impact. Yeah, it's giving Pirates of the Caribbean. It really is. Okay, I just heard and the inclusion of what would have happened in order for the creation of August. Okay, whether this is a person or the actual month, and how, yeah, it's giving Chronos. Hello, Chronos. How are you? It's giving Chronos. It's giving Chronos. Yeah, as a system, as a networking system, and I say a networking system opposed to a timekeeping system because as Chronos has evolved, you can leave different little notes and make little different changes and shit in it. And yeah, even with like the fingerprint, that's that part. The other part of it that'll come with it is you could change a person's yeah, depending on what it is you're trying to do. I mean, just because, yeah, okay, yeah, because I don't want nobody to be like, oh my God, she has a criminal mind. And it's one of those, technically, I used to watch the fucking show, so yeah, I do. But it would be nothing for there to be an imprint that would have been created by the computer and of an individual's finger, and you just switch the profiles on it. Yeah, you just switch the profiles, you just switch the name. Yeah, because I kept hearing that damn song. And sometimes when I heard certain songs, don't get me wrong, I would enjoy the artist, but I kept hearing the whole they say I'm bougie, I'm switching my profiles. They say I'm bougie, I'm switching my profiles. I was like, what the fuck does that have to do with what I'm thinking about right now? I'm thinking about fucking computers and how technology, oh, the switching of the profiles that come into place in different computer systems. And so yeah, a networker. If you're talking about a networker, you're gonna be talking about a computer program networker. They would have to have knowledge of the dark web. They have to have knowledge of a lot of different stuff. So yeah, and it be a part of. I don't know about the whole group Coven Secret Society, unless there's a technology basis one that does that. One of the things I will also say that I'm very surprised that I haven't seen come out is the. It must not be in our atmosphere right now though. Yeah, because there's a tiny satellite that amplifies the moon's essence on a very regular basis. It comes into the Earth's atmosphere and orbits. Uh, I want to say for yeah, from anywhere between like 60 to 90 days, and that would have been something that would have taken place with the creation of stargazing back in that time, and how one would have, yeah, would have had to have had knowledge of the ocean just as well as of the sky. Is this talking about some shit with Atlantis? Y'all found the Atlantis files? Is this what I'm? Is this what I'm like? Is this how I found out about it? Yeah, because that would have been along the trade routes. A lot of those. I don't know why I want to say fallen economies. They would have been along the trade routes, and what it is to be a fallen economy or have a fall in the economy, and whether it's forced or not. Yeah, because the blockades and things of that nature that they created along the Nile and within the Nile River. Oh, okay. So this is world. This is the world news portion of the world view. Yeah, that'll mess up a whole bunch of stuff because anytime you dam up a river, a natural flowing river or spring, is supposed to cause issues, because it fucks with the irrigation. So how everything grows, like period. Yeah, it can affect even the groundwater because you damn humans. This is why I don't be understanding personally why it is y'all be working with certain. I don't think you know what it is. Let me stop because I really believe that a lot of people just don't really listen to. Yeah, because it's about the whole climate control, what it is for a climate to be controlled. And why would you control, and why it would be a focus of controlling the climate and some of this other stuff. Yeah, that whole distant horizons, that's talking about the port master. What's to happen with that contract across seas that ain't being, yeah, this ain't about the terrorists and shit, this is something else that's going on. Yeah, with their families, and I'm taking it as about vacations and them having to move from one space to another. Port bows. Okay, that's what they go ahead and take a bow was about. Okay, port bow. That's giving starboard and port side. Ain't that the parts of the boat? Did somebody was somebody on a relationship on a boat? No, because it's showing me acrimony, but what it's given is there would have been a situation that would. No, because the joke swimming with the fishes. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my god. All right, and the payment that comes within there being spiritual connections and whatnot, discussing an investment. That's a conflict. That's the conflict. Because if a spiritual, one of the things before I got off her yesterday, I was about to kind of go into, you don't, this, yeah, because I saw a situation, a few different situations that's happened over the years, and I was like, I don't think y'all really know what y'all doing. Her go ahead and say what you have to. Yeah, and the whole practitioner aspect, because whenever there's an offering that would be made, if you haven't paid attention to how it is, or not shit, but how it is things manifest. When you make an offering to a deity or even to your ancestors, right, they'll show you how it comes back to you, right? Through your ancestors. Now here's the problem that comes into place with this. Yeah, if a person is standing in front of you and they checking all of the bags. It was in, what was the name of that movie? What was the name of that movie? Uh it was an old movie that I picked to watch. And what was happening was, back before Western Union, before there was Western Union, they would mail money. They would mail the money. And what was happening was the postmasters, right, were in whatever space it is based off of the person's ethnicity, was stealing the money out of the envelopes. So yeah, that'll be part of something that you might need to pay attention to. The other portion of it, it'll be about there being the inheritance of spiritual connections within one, not talking about investments, and show how you'll get more spiritual connections if you don't talk about money. Let me explain something to you. People walk around talking about money all day and all night. And when you talk about essence or energy exchange, you talking about money. It's the exact same thing, because a person's essence is what creates, funnels, and pulls in whatever it is that they would need. So back in the day, basically, this is a fundamental rule that was understood amongst what constitutes as spiritual connections, and how certain things would be inherited. For one of them, yeah, like diseases and things of that nature is one of them that can be inherited. Another thing is that whole, not the whole fight or flight, but for a while they were doing that study, right, in the contract aspect with this murder of crows, and they were paying people, right, within this study, uh, to see if being a serial killer was something that's inherited. Yeah, if it's a nature versus nurture situation. So I don't know what that's about, but okay. Uh, uh a war. I just heard warrior gone wrong. That sounds like that same voice that asked me once upon a time if there was a different God for. I heard no, but I was right there. Oh, okay, okay. And then there's a, but yeah, and the other portion of this is within this inheritance card. Yeah, one has blue hair and is kind of standing upright. The other one, yeah, it's giving the whole royalty servant, to be a royal servant and a loyal servant. Well, when you're a royal servant, you have a responsibility any damn way to check on the people that you serving. It is, that's just a part of Meghan Markle. Yeah, like, oh, is she okay? How is she? Because you know, in any event, and inheriting children. Oh, nah, cause back in the day, the conflict was if it was a kid that the woman didn't like, she would kill him. Oh, oh, y'all are horrible. You're horrible. You're horrible. Slams the door. Slams the door. You're horrible. Yeah, you shouldn't think like that. Not about no damn kids, or even being able to connect on a childhood fashion. Just because a person can connect to someone on a childhood notion doesn't necessarily mean that they will connect to them throughout the course of their life. Because even when you're a kid, you get certain lessons, right, that you're supposed to learn. Yeah, yeah. I learned in some instances, just because a person is a childhood friend, don't mean that they supposed to be around me for the rest of my fucking life, or just because I know them or we were friends as children doesn't mean we're going to be friends as adults. Life will take you into completely different facets and into completely different places. That's why you value when, you have those types of connections, because it gives you a measurement of your growth and your stability from childhood on up. Yeah, and how much fucking information do you have to collect? And my thing is this. Yeah, I ain't never really understood this. Yeah, why it would be important to know if a person has held on to friends that long if you don't even consider yourself a friend. Or you don't consider them as a friend to you. Yeah, some of the stuff it is that I'm that would happen over the years. Oh, you'll be amazed what it is I paid attention to. Trust and please believe, it's already been proven, right? That in the spiritual aspect, paying attention to just one person when you know that there are mission details, and that mission details, you're underway with what you're supposed to do for one person, and you got to get started with what you're doing for another one. Yeah, you got to figure out where to go, and where to go and what to do and all that other good stuff. So just paying that one. All right. So hopefully, to summarize, right? Pay attention to what will be going on for the ma'at aspect. If you've been learning ma'at, oh, who learning ma'at? Oh, oh, you learn. You're learning the ways of ma'at. It's difficult in today's time. It's difficult because people be intentionally pushing your buttons. They will, and you'll be amazed how closely related my aunt and like natural law and universal law and the correlating aspects that come into place. I'm not talking about like the theorems and shit like that come into place for like physics. I'm talking about those core principles and how they're reflected on a daily basis, and even in regards to metaphysics and the metaphysical aspects of what would take place within one having and being emotionally sound and stable. One thing I will certainly say, some people get motivated and moved easily, or can move easier when they're just being themselves and in love, right? Yeah, and sure, who are you in love versus who are you with your childhood friends? Can you be them? Can you be that same person? Yeah, and if you have difficulty with it, and however that goes, that'll. I heard something about around me. Okay, I just heard I don't want nobody around me. Oh, okay. Somebody done pissed somebody. Oh, y'all done started some shit. What happened? Oh my God, am I supposed to even know about this? Oh my God, I just hope everybody's doing okay. Part of that would be a part of ascension and the what it is to be able to clear one's mind. And with the whole aspect of maritime law and battle on the sea. Yeah, I think ain't it a whole nother book of rules for open sea shit. And if y'all fight, are y'all fighting? No, because it's given a whole. Because Vikings kept coming up, and I know Vikings to be as tradespeople or merchants. Are y'all? It must be another way by which you all need to travel to deliver some goods. Yeah, because it's given that some investments been held up and some shit on it. Don't, hey, y'all need to figure that out. That is not my job. This too, I ain't getting into nobody else's business. I have told enough. And sure, pay attention. Sun, moon, rising, Venus, or Uranus. For me, it's Uranus. Sun, moon, rising, Venus, or Uranus. The signs that came out: Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, Aries, Cancer. Okay. Libra, Gemini, Sagittarius, moon signs, and where and find and the finding of the connecting factors with those. You got the army. Yeah, you're going to be identifying a woman in the army, um a woman. Are there female marines? A woman in the marines, okay. Or a sharpshooter. um Air Force. It's not a lot going on in regard. Yeah, it's not about the Navy. In short, when you have to put all of the elements on water or in one's emotion. Mm. Oh Lord, what did y'all do? All right, light love to y'all, okay? Cause see, remember, light work. It ain't light work. It's not light work. It's not light work. It's not light work. And that's why you have to stay light while you work.